Sylvia Rogers posted a baby's ultrasound on Facebook with the caption, "Grateful to my sperm donor. I was almost hopeless. But now, look, I'm having a baby." She was my husband's ex, and he's the donor. I gave the post a thumbs up and typed a comment. "Good for you." Right when I hit send, Simon called me, freaking out. "Come on, I just helped Sylvia out. Don't blow this up, Grace. Please." I hung up, thinking it was time to consider divorce. I caressed my little belly, took a deep breath, and felt like I needed to apologize to the little one inside. I couldn't keep it, but as soon as I opened my mouth, the tears began pouring out. I wanted to surprise Simon with the news on his birthday, but it was obvious he didn't want this baby at all. I was 2 months along, and God, I'd wanted this for ages. It took this long because he wasn't into intimacy with me and hated the thought of kids. He thought they were just loud and exhausting. Not too long ago, I caught him looking up baby stuff and even making spreadsheets, one for expectant moms and another for newborns. I thought he was finally getting on board with my pregnancy, and now I felt really stupid. Obviously, he wasn't getting ready for me at all. That night, Simon came home way earlier than usual. It was only 8 p.m. when he usually rolled in at dawn. He called out my name, but I stayed quiet in the bedroom. He didn't try again. After a bit, I heard him shower, and when he was done, he slipped into bed next to me without turning on the light. I felt a warm sensation at my waist. It was the first time he'd cuddled me. He snuggled into my neck and tried to coax me. "Oh, darling, nothing happened between us. I just donated my sperm, okay? Sylvia loves kids, you know. Don't worry. Once the baby's born, I won't get in touch with her again. You understand, right?" I kept my eyes shut and my mouth closed. I just moved his hand away and turned my back. He caught my rejection and complained, "What else do you want, Grace? I'm trying to be nice and you're rejecting me? What happened to?" He mimicked my voice. "I don't care about your ex. You're mine now, and it's all that matters." I heard him let out an exasperated sigh. "Can you quit acting like a jealous wife? I could have kept this from you because I didn't want to upset you, but I chose to be transparent, because that's what husbands are supposed to do. Now here you are giving me silent treatment." He let all his frustrations out, and in the end, he said, "Look, you wanted a baby, and here I am, trying to support you, but you're rejecting it. Guess I should just sleep on the couch tonight, huh?" He slammed the door, and I couldn't help but laugh at how messed up my marriage was and how clueless I had been. To him, saying sorry was something he only said for me to forgive him, or else in his eyes, I'd be just a ridiculous jealous wife. I guessed it was my fault after all. He knew I'd always forgive him, because I loved him, and this was the price I had to pay. The next morning, I didn't find my husband on the couch. I didn't wonder where he went early in the morning. It's not like it was the first time. He'd be back when it was already late in the evening. His assistant Dorian Watson called a bunch of times, looking for him, saying he hadn't shown up at the office. Putting it all together, there was only one place I could think of, somewhere with Sylvia, probably in an OBGYN's room. I was heading somewhere too. After making an appointment, I hopped in a cab to the hospital. When I was already lying in bed, the abortion was done before I knew it. The baby was no longer inside me in just a few minutes. Not long after, I was already in line to settle the bills, when I bumped into two familiar figures. My husband with her ex. My husband quickly shot me an accusing glare. "Grace? What the hell? Do you really have to follow me here? You stalking me now?" I shifted my eyes to his ex. She avoided my gaze and pretended to scold my husband. "Simon, don't accuse her like that. Do you really think she'll stalk us? I mean, we're here for the baby. Grace gets the situation. Right, Grace?" Sylvia's words totally shifted the focus onto me. I could only chuckle and respond, "Right, you're just here for a checkup, and I just happen to be here too. I'm not stalking." Probably thinking I was defensive, Simon shoved me, seething. "Goodness, Grace, stop imagining things. She's practically a sister to me." I had just had surgery. My body had me knocked to the ground from his shove. Pain shot through my lower abdomen, and I winced. Sylvia quickly came to my rescue, but she shot a mocking smile my way while scolding Simon. I pushed her away, feeling disgusted. I tried to lean against the wall, but she flopped down next to me, acting dramatically like her belly hurt. Simon strode to help her up and then yelled at me. "Fuck! If anything happens to her, I swear, Grace, you'll regret this." Cold sweat broke out as I felt pain coursing through me while my husband cared for his ex. Maybe I made the right decision not to keep the baby. A man who didn't love his wife wouldn't love his kid either. When I came back to the villa, I went to Facebook to post something until I saw Sylvia's latest post. It was a picture of a man's back, and I knew too well that it was my husband's. She posted it with a caption, "Having a man who loves me makes me feel so safe." The comments were all from Simon's buddies. Ryder Sterling, "That back doesn't look like your husband's. Ha. Dash Harper, "Nice one, you've won back your goddess." Landon Lawson, "So the sperm's from this guy. Congrats." My husband indirectly scolded them. Simon Winslow, "Come on boys, I'm just helping out. You trying to drive my wife away?" As soon as he posted that, his buddies liked his comment and stopped commenting. Except Ryder. "Come on man, don't act like that. She's not worth it. Just ditch her. You've been with Sylvia since high school, and everyone knows you can't let her go. Stop fooling yourself." Ryder had been Simon's best friend forever, and never liked me. He always thought I wasn't perfect for his buddy, saying I wasn't as pretty as Sylvia. To him, I just didn't measure up. I just let Ryder say what he wanted for Simon's sake, but I could speak for myself now that Elle was considering divorce. I typed something and commented, "Don't worry, that's gonna happen soon." Then I picked two photos, my pregnancy ultrasound and my abortion certificate, and captioned it, "Finally letting go. Grace's POV." Only a few seconds after I posted the photos, my Facebook notification exploded. I looked at the likes and comments one by one, and not one was from Simon's buddies. I doubted they hadn't seen my post yet. Ha, they must have called him to toast to their little celebration. Before long, my phone was buzzing nonstop. My parents and in-laws were all trying to reach me. Simon was blowing up my phone too, but I ignored it. I just shot a text to Mom. I'll be home later. I'll fill you in when I get there. I packed up my things quickly, and just as I was about to leave, I spotted Simon pulling into the driveway. He sprinted out of the car and marched right over. Grace, what's going on? You aborted our baby just because I donated my sperm? I just stared at him blankly. And why didn't you ever mention you were pregnant? His barrage of questions made me feel nauseous, but I wasn't in the mood to argue. I brushed past his anger, grabbed my suitcase, and headed out the door. But he grabbed me by my arm, his grip firm. Is this some kind of joke to you? I told you I'd cut ties with her after the baby. I've made sacrifices for you. What more do you want me to do? His shameless words hit me, and I couldn't hold back any longer. I slapped him. Stop messing up your real relationship for me. You know what? Your best friend's right. Just do what you really want. I'm not worth it, right? You should find someone better. I sent you the divorce papers. Don't forget to sign them ASAP. With that, I broke free and stormed out. I could hear him yell a threat after me. Stay, or I won't accept you when you come back. Come back? Not a chance. Honestly, I should be thanking him. This made me realize I'd be better off without him. When I got home, my parents immediately cornered me with questions about the divorce. Mom's eyes were red. She'd definitely been crying. When I told them about Simon's sperm donation situation, Mom pulled me in for a tight hug, crying, I told you he'd only hurt you. Dad was quiet for a moment, then finally said, good riddance. I sulked for a bit, and finally let the tears flow, sobbing on my mom's shoulder. They never thought highly of Simon, convinced he didn't truly love me. I had pursued him for 7 years, and when he finally agreed to date me, I ignored everyone's warnings, thinking I could eventually make him love me. Obviously that didn't work out, and here we were, facing divorce. I learned the hard way that you can't force a relationship. A decade of my youth taught me that lesson. I waited ages, but Simon still hadn't signed the divorce papers. Just after I threatened to take him to court, he finally texted me, I'll come by tomorrow to pick you up and let Ryder and the others apologize. Stop making a fuss. I'm exhausted. Don't make me pick between you and Sylvia. I'm sorry, but can't you see my perspective? I said I'd distance myself from her, but she's pregnant and needs support. You see, her husband's not around. He acted like he was torn between Sylvia and me, just because she was pregnant. But time and again, he proved he always chose her. On our wedding day, what did he do? He fucking chose to keep his ex-girlfriend company when she was not on good terms with her husband. On our anniversary, he left me to be with her because she was panicking during a thunderstorm. On my birthday, she let him know she got promoted, and he celebrated with her instead. Every holiday, he tried to keep things fair by getting gifts for me and for his ex. I talked about this to him a bunch, but he always said it wouldn't happen again. Yet here we were, and every time it did, he'd call me petty. Honestly, the best moment we ever had was when he proposed. That night was wild. He popped the question way up in Sky Spire Peak, where the stars felt so close I could almost reach them. Under that blanket of stars, he slipped a shiny ring on my finger, looking all serious. His vows were really heartfelt. It was the most serious I'd ever seen him, and he went all out for that moment. When Simon noticed I hadn't replied, he called me right up. Darling, I booked a restaurant for everyone to apologize to you. Please don't make a scene, I asked casually. Is Sylvia coming? Of course, he said. Fine then, I replied. I'll come with you tomorrow. If they wanted to apologize, it better be not just to me. The next day, when Simon picked me up, Sylvia was in the passenger seat, giving me an awkward smile. Sorry, Grace. I get carsick. Must be the pregnancy, you know. So I had to sit here. I just faintly smiled back. Sure. When I hadn't considered divorce, I might have felt weird about my husband's ex sitting next to him. But now, whatever they did, just stopped bothering me. It was funny. If it was Simon's car, she had to sit next to him. But in others' cars, she never complained about being carsick and would take any seat. By the time we got to dinner, all of Simon's buddies were there, waiting for us. Ryder came over first, greeted me, and pulled me to sit next to him. Grace, I'll be the first to apologize. His tone wasn't exactly sincere. It felt kind of threatening. Once everyone was seated, Ryder poured me a drink and said he'd take a shot to make up for his mistakes. He raised his glass, downed it, and started his apology. Well, I don't usually think before I speak, so don't take it to heart. Honestly, I never thought you were good enough for my buddy, but he wants to be with you, so I'm here to support him. Thanks, I said. I guess. He poured another drink and said, I'll take another shot for what I said that day. Really sorry about it. Right after that, Simon's other buddies jumped in with their apologies too. Seeing the vibe lighten, Simon quickly took charge and told everyone to dig in. But then Sylvia stood up with a glass of juice. Grace, I want to apologize to you too. Simon and I had a past, so with our situation now, I think I've made things tough for you. Simon quickly stopped her, saying, Hey Sylvia, no, you didn't do anything. Then he turned to me and said earnestly, Darling, I'm sorry. I admit I didn't handle this situation well. All right, I said, but someone else wants to hear you both apologize too. The door then swung open, and a sharply dressed guy walked in. Why are you here? Sylvia stammered, her eyes wide at the sight of her husband.